That was back when
Terry Nagy, I had licensed the Apogee name to him and his partner Dan, and they worked out this deal with Dave, and the guys in Denmark, forgot their name, but anyway, so yeah, I was not in that loop whatsoever. But
it was during that conversation that he was like, "Oh, Scott Miller, you should have Scott Miller on as well." So I was like, you know what? Why don't we try and get Scott Miller on the show as well? But he's a master marketer. He really is. And Dusk, and I would say the 1-2 combo of Dusk and a Medieval, essentially helped create this subgenre of FPS games that is the reason why we're all sat here right now talking. It created this thing called Boomer Shooter, and one day we started a podcast around it. So we are, just as he's indebted to you for what you created before him, we're indebted to him for what he's created.
No doubt.
That allowed us to do it.
I consider Dave sort of the guy who really, him along with the author of Dusk, they sort of reignited this whole category of retro shooter. If you go back to Rot 2013, that was not really meant to be a retro game. I don't really consider that the birth of it. It's to me, it's very clearly Dusk is the line in the sand where, boom, here we are with the retro shooter. Yeah.
Yeah, I very vividly remember when Dusk came out, because I bought it when it first. I had a laptop that I couldn't even run the game on it, which is wild. Really crappy laptop, and I bought it and I just checked it out each time an episode dropped, and I was following the whole thing. Then I remember sometime after that, I can't really remember when it really kicked off, but we started getting so many games that were old school inspired, and all of a sudden one day it's like Boomer Shooter was a name being thrown around, and I'm like, what is this? And then eventually Steam's like, it's an official tag, and I'm like, what? So this is recognized as a legitimate genre, subgenre now.
Yeah.
And it just kept going, it kept going, it kept going. Now we're getting Boomer Shooter after Boomer Shooter every other day, and just all of them look great. It's kind of crazy at this point. It's like it's like the 90s all over again. You know what I mean? It's wild.
I think it was kind of around 2021, maybe around, Dusk had been out for a few years, and then Turbo Overkill's demo drops in March of 2021. Deadlink starts coming out. Our movement shooters start rising and expand the Boomer Shooter world, and then it just no one can stop talking about it after that.
Well, I think Turbo Overkill is, obviously it's on console now, so the console players can enjoy it. I think it's one of the top tier ones that has come out in the last few years. If you have to make a top 10 list, that is near the top, of that list on there. But
a major sin of mine is I've yet to play Turbo Overkill. But I thought about grabbing it on console, so it's possible.
Get on it. Get on.
Yeah, I have plans of doing that.
I wanted to play it so much that when it came out on PC, I hadn't even learned how to use a mouse and keyboard yet. So I binded it to a controller to try and play it, and I couldn't hit a single thing because I didn't know what the hell I was doing with this whole mapping thing. So I specifically learned how to play with mouse and keyboard so I could play games like Turbo Overkill because I was so bad.
I mean, it's a very it couldn't be more up my alley as a video game if it tried. So I really couldn't tell you why I don't own it already or haven't already beat it. It's kind of wild actually now that I think about it. Every time I think about it, I'm like, why do I not own this again? I don't know.
I should say on console, for the players on Turbo and console, there's an update coming that will add some more controller presets that'll help with the button bindings. So I don't know when that's coming out, but it's in the oven right now.
So they can play it properly and not have to hack it like I did.
If you weren't working in video games, what industry or medium would you want to be involved in?
As a kid, I was hoping to be an archaeologist, so maybe something like that. I don't know.
I did not expect that.
Or a gardener.
Yeah,
there you go.
God.
Yeah, that was one of mine as well. Growing up,
either way.
Archaeologist.
So this is why you end up making a retro-looking game that set out in the outdoors because you wanted to be a gardener and an archaeologist.
No, but right now I feel like I said, maybe gardening or something like that, because like,
Yeah.
um, yeah, gaming industry can really makes you tired. So
Yeah. Well, you said earlier it's years of your life. It's not like you can just join for 6 months and then disappear. If you're the one that's the
exactly.
driving force behind its vision, that thing is your baby. You're raising it for 3-4 years or something. You know, everything. It's your heart and soul. That's absolutely understand your point of view. Yeah.
I don't really know. I guess this is just broad for whoever. How do you feel about the wave of retro remasters that are slightly adjusting things, like the Thing remaster, fully realizing the randomized infected system that the original developers couldn't do? So I'm improving on things that limitations didn't allow for in the past in the same thing now.
This is for me.
Yeah, you or
Take
Scott
it.
or whoever. Yeah.
It's open to anyone who has an opinion.
Go
ahead, Primas.
Okay. I mean, for remasters, I'm fine with that as long as it stays in the same spirit. Like, it doesn't change the game too much. I mean, it really depends on the remaster, right?
Right.
If it makes like a whole new game, it's like reimagining, not remaster, right?
Yeah. So how do you feel about, like, specifically when they do a remaster and it is faithful, but they improve upon the original vision of something that the developers couldn't originally bring to fruition fully? How do you feel about that? Like, improving those things and making them an actual thing, I guess, other than, making the idea reality.
I mean, it really depends what the thing is, right?
Right.
That's what I think. It's like, if it's a huge system that changes the game dramatically, then I'm against it, because it's not the same game anymore, right?
That's true. Yeah.
But if it's something that was there but wasn't like working perfectly, and now they can do it perfectly, I mean, why not, right?
Right.
I mean, I think the easy solution for that is you simply have a toggle that's, play it the way the original designers made it, and or toggle it to this new system. See if you like that better.
Yeah.
That's what the Duke Nukem, that Gearbox release, did, where you could play it in the 3D type of thing that it was originally released in, and then you could play it in like truly full 3D.
See, I would love to see Star Wars Episode 4, where I could toggle between hand shooting first and never ever see the version where he doesn't.
That's fair. Yeah,
it's such a bad effect. It really.
So how does it feel for games?
Well, I mean, Scott. Scott, you were.
Scott, I think this is one. Yeah,
you tied to. You were there with
exactly.
the software in the hotels making Doom, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's great that we're at that point now where we can look back on the history, and there's definitely landmark games and landmark studios, and we've got this history now, kind of like the early days of the film industry, where a lot of star actors, actresses, had emerged by that time, and directors were coming about. It's just, I love that we have several game museums now around the United States. A lot of them contact me, in fact, trying to get me to send them stuff and whatever.
Duke Nukem Library of Congress.
We've got enough sort of old timers writing their memoirs or their books, like Doom Guy and so on. So it's really cool to see this industry maturing, and we have this history that we can now look back upon, and like I said, landmark events and games and so on. And back when I was starting, late 80s, early 90s, none of this stuff even occurred to me.